Well, the plants are in the ground. I've got a Bruce banner. I've got a Thailand. I've got a Congo. And I've got this Amnesia Lemon Fast plant. Now, that one I am a bit kind of concerned about. It could be a male, and I will have to destroy it if it is, sadly.
This is a show about jewelry, why we wear it, why it matters, how it's made, and what it means. I'm Alex D, and I turn cannabis into gold. I make mind-blowing jewelry in gold, silver, and platinum from cannabis plants here in Canada for stage, screen, for people who want to rock crazy jewelry. I'm the Cannabis Goldsmith.
But the plants are in the ground, and I'm hoping we don't get any more frosts or tornadoes or wind or whatever. It's farming, so I've got 4 plants that I'm going to be using for leaves. Now, already, the leaves that came off the Bruce banner as it was a seedling, I've made into belt buckle designs, which are being cast actually probably today or tomorrow in Toronto. I sent our master Goldsmith Ed the models that I've been working on, and so we've got 3 belt buckles that'll be coming. 2 sooner, and then the huge one with the entire Indica leaf that I used as a belt buckle. That one is too long for his setup, his casting setup, so I have to find another flask for him to fit it in because it's just too big. This is a big belt buckle. I'm not even sure if it's going to work because I've never seen a belt buckle this wide before, and this pointy on the edges because it's serrated, right? It's like a leaf. Go on our Instagram page at TRIBEDOTCA at tribe.ca. That's at TRIBEDOTCA, and you'll see a picture of the model of the whole leaf on a belt buckle on my waist, actually, and what it looks like. Now, what's happening here, let me try and describe how this is being cast, what Ed's going to do with this. First off, he attaches it with wax rods onto a rubber cap, like a base, and then a steel sleeve gets put around that, and the rubber base closes up one end of this steel sleeve, right? And inside that is the leaf, my leaf model, my belt buckle model, made of its special resin, and Ed is attaching this to the lid, that rubber lid on the bottom, with wax rods. Now, it's all carefully positioned in the center of this steel cylinder. And then what he does is he mixes up a batch of plaster, special kind of plaster that, like dentists use this stuff too. It allows you to make excellent one-shot molds out of plaster. So what he does is mixes up a batch of plaster and he pours it into that cylinder. So all the way around, it fills in the cylinder around my model of the belt buckle, which is sitting in the middle of that. And then what he does is put that in a vacuum chamber to suck all the bubbles out of the plaster, so there's no defects or imperfections in the plaster whatsoever. And then he lets that dry. And then that gets melted out, put in a kiln, and the hole inside the plaster with the little wax rods that attach it to the cap at the bottom. Now, all that melts out and flows out through the bottom, through a hole in the cap, and it leaves a void in the plaster. Now, if you're still with me at this process, that is lost wax casting. That leaves a void in the plaster inside this cylinder, this steel cylinder, right? And then gold or silver is forced into that hole with centrifugal force in a centrifugal casting machine. Centrifugal casting machine. So in this case, silver will be forced into the hole in this cylinder, through the hole in the rubber cap, into the hole in the plaster, fill that up, and then cool. And all this happens in a fraction of a second. And when it cools, boom, that's it. The belt buckle should be inside that plaster, inside the hole in the plaster. And so what Ed does then is takes that and runs it under cold water, and the plaster shatters inside this cylinder in the sink, and out pops the belt buckle in silver. And so that is what's going to happen with two of my designs, the half leaf belt buckle and the seed belt buckle that I'm working on, which will be a combination of silver and 14 karat gold together. It's going to be just amazing. Now, anyway, the biggest leaf won't fit in the stainless steel sleeve because Ed doesn't have any that are long enough for it. Like I say, this is a big piece, right? A giant piece. So I'm going to have to find a steel sleeve and ship it to him for his machine. Now, out around here in this rural area that I live in now, we have things like tractors and trucks, and there's somebody with a welding shop or a muffler supply place that fixes trucks or something that I'm going to find a nice stainless steel sleeve that's long enough to send to Ed to fill with plaster and then cast the buckle, the big long buckle. Now, like I say, this is purely speculative because I don't even know if this is going to work as a buckle. It works in plastic, in my plastic modeling material that I designed it in. It fits fine on a belt, but we'll never know until we make one. So that's the thing with this big one. I'm interested in the two others, but now that I can't get the big one done right away, it makes me even more interested in getting it done, strangely enough. Anyway, so that's how the buckles are coming along. They're in process. And what I want to do with them is I want to photograph them. These are going to be art pieces, one-off art piece buckles. They're for sale, yes, but they're not mass-produced or anything. These are one-of-a-kind things. These are art. These are special. So if you want them, send me an email, alexd@cannabisgoldsmith.com. Now, I mentioned this Bruce Banner plant that's now in the ground. Those big, huge leaves it had when it was a tiny seedling that made the belt buckles. This is what I look for in plants for jewelry design. When I'm making jewelry design from the plant, I look for a plant that's kind of strange, that does something different than a normal plant that everyone is sort of familiar with. And how I get the best leaves for it is I try and grow the biggest plants, and that way there's more leaves on them for me to choose from. But in this case, this plant wasn't even 12 inches tall, and it had leaves that were like 6 inches long. It was so weird. So I captured that first run of leaves off this Bruce Banner plant for the jewelry. So this is going to be really interesting to see the jewelry pieces because the plant is still alive and in the ground. I'm wondering really what it's going to do this year if it grows well, how big it will get or what the leaves will look like. But again, with farming, I mean, it's all dependent on the weather and the insects and God knows what else that these plants face out there, bunny rabbits or whatever eating them. So these plants have a tough go of it out there in the sunshine. You might think they're just vacationing. No, they're battling pests and varmints and stuff to grow and flower. And anyway, so that's what I capture in the jewelry. I captured the energy of the plant. And these buckles are just great. Now, the The seed field one, as I described last week, it's like a field of seeds in silver, but one of the seeds is going to be 14 karat gold. And so I've already got a 14 karat gold seed, a large cannabis seed that I cast, that I designed and we cast in 14 karat gold for use as an ear stud. These are amazing cannabis ear studs, cannabis seed ear studs that we sell in 14 and 18 karat gold. So I'm going to take one of those. It's big too. It's like double the size of what you think a normal cannabis seed looks like. I mean, there are big cannabis seeds. They range in size from tiny to just massive, right? So this is one of the bigger ones, and that's going to go in the face of this belt buckle. I'm going to drill out a hole in it and put the earring post through, and then solder the gold onto the back, like ball up that earring post so it locks the 14 karat gold cannabis seed into the face of the buckle. It's going to be great. I already see the design in my brain now, and so I'm looking forward to finishing the pieces when they come. Also, I'm working on brooches. As I mentioned last week, this amazing book on brooch backs has already got me shopping for materials to make the pins of the brooch on the back. Now, with brooch design in precious metal, there's something you got to know about it. Is that if you make a brooch or a man brooch or a pin or whatever you want to call it out of precious metal on the front, the pin on the back, while you can make it out of precious metal, and in an ideal world, it would be made of precious metal. Precious metal doesn't make great pins. The metal's too soft. Now, granted, you can make a pin out of precious metal if the thickness of the pin is enough. It won't bend so much, right? But precious metal tends to be bendy. It's soft. It's soft, but it is flexible. You can manipulate its shape quite easily. So for a pin on the back of a brooch, you don't want that because you want it springy. You want it to have a strength to it. It has to spring back and hold its shape in the shape of a pin. Otherwise, it just doesn't work as a pin, right? So luckily, the Precious Metals Marking Act lets me use a stainless steel pin on the back of say a 14 karat gold brooch or a sterling silver brooch of a face. We can use non-precious metal for components that there's no other real way to do it. For example, in a box hinge, like if you have a 14 karat gold box you've made, a little box, for example, but the pin in the hinge can be stainless steel. And the piece, if it's marked 14 karat gold, this will be fine. This will be allowed, right? And jewelers don't like putting different metals together like this. And this is the reason why there's laws around in Canada and in most countries, I think, about how jewelers deal with other metals when working with precious metal. So in my case, I've got a silver. What I want to do is I want to get one of these leaves off this spruce banner plant. It's not as big as the belt buckle. It's not like 6 inches wide, but it'll be like 3 inches by maybe 1.5 inches. Quite a large leaf. It'll fit on a lapel, right? And I want it to fit on a lapel. And I'm going to make it out of silver and blacken it with like this patina material, and then I'm going to polish it off. And what this will do is highlight all the nooks and crannies in the surface of the leaf to give it a nice 3-dimensional look and to bring out its detail. But that's the face, right? That's the front of the man brooch. Just think of it as a leaf on a lapel, right? A big cannabis leaf. Now around the back is what I've been trying to understand and figure out. And so around the back of this one is going to be a stainless steel pin, probably 1.5 millimeters or 1 millimeter in diameter stainless steel wire that I'm going to shape into a pin. And then I'm going to attach it to the back with sterling silver cannabis seeds in an arrangement that locks the pin into place so that you can open it, pin it on your lapel, put it back, and it'll snap right into a sterling silver cannabis seed like hook that's on the back of this brooch. So I don't know if you can visualize any of that, but that's what I'm working on now. It's a man brooch made out of a baby indica leaf. And the more I see the clothes at the Met Gala, for example, that just happened, the more I realize how far away the stars have floated from humanity. They are just really, really way out there. There's no relationship at all, even between the people who attend the Met Gala and humanity. There's really none whatsoever. You just have to look at the outfits at that, and clearly it's like any episode of Star Trek Next Generation where the ambassador from some other planet there'll be a whole group of extras in the shot that look like that. That was the Met Gala, right? I don't even understand. I don't think anyone else does anymore either. So anyway, I'm looking at jewelry differently this year. Although our products work great at an event like the Met Gala or at an award show or something where you're picking up an award, if you're on a red carpet, a nice indica leaf lapel pin will be a statement piece. It's gonna say cannabis, but it'll say it in an elegant and sophisticated way on a lapel, on a man's lapel. And that's what I want to do, I don't want the person to have to wear an umbrella with fabric draped all over it too, right? I'm just thinking about the lapel, and I want it to look excellent on a tuxedo. And that's what I'm talking about with this. Maybe I'm not as far advanced in fashion as some of these Met Gala people, but whatever. I'm thinking of somebody who can own a piece like this brooch, man brooch I'm working on now to rock it on a lapel, or even pin it on a hoodie. Like it will even work pinned on a hoodie, I think it would rock pinned on a hoodie. So I'm looking at man brooches, I think, more and more. My focus is on men's jewelry. Women women don't wear brooches anymore, but they should, to pin scarves around necks. Women in the fall wear all these, they love rocking scarves, but there needs to be pins holding them together too, right? They're missing that whole adventure of shopping for a pin over the summer at a flea market or buying one from me, custom made, and then rocking it on a fall scarf. I know summer hasn't even started and you're not thinking about fall, but I'm thinking about fall. So when you're out there in the looking at your garage sales or whatever, keep your eyes peeled for pins, right, for your fall scarves. And if you want something special, send me an email. Anyway, back to brooches and pins and stuff. There's a whole need for them, I think. I mean, there's periods of it. I look at I think of my mother's brooches, right? She had it was like a tea. It was tea in this. It was like a box of tea or a tin box where you would get with cookies or something these days, but it was smaller. And I think a special kind of tea was on it. But anyway, she used to keep her brooches in this. And as a kid, I used to rifle through this and look at them. And I was fascinated by the gemstones. They weren't gemstones. They were glass, right? Paste. But some of them are really nice looking. Others were just like hideous and overproduced. They were just like wrong. I knew immediately they were wrong. But some are really nice, right? Some had a kind of an energy to them that I liked, right? So you'll see these things. You're out at the flea market. You see brooches. You'll see real, just over the top ones. You'll see some ones that are more toned down. And that's the stuff in the middle maybe is what you can go for. Grab something and throw it on a hoodie. I dare you. I dare you to do it. Get something with gemstones on it too. Throw it on a hoodie for the summer, for the fall. Anyway, so back to brooches. So I think there's a gap here. There needs to be brooches of quality, and there needs to be modern brooches, and there needs to be men wearing them. That's my mission. So I'm going to make them out of what I know, which is cannabis, right? So our cannabis Man Brooches are going to just be amazing. One-of-a-kind pieces, carefully made. They're art pieces, but they're also jewelry that you can wear at an award show, on stage, at your friend's wedding. Actually, they would make a great gift for a wedding party. Cannabis leaf lapel pins. Can you imagine what kind of a gift this would be if you gave your wedding party these? That would be crazy, wouldn't it? Anyway, all right, that's it about brooches for me. Well, today I'm going to work on the wire backing, the stainless steel pin on the back of this cannabis leaf brooch. And so how I'm going to do it, I'm going to make a plastic model of the front of the brooch out of the cannabis leaf that I've got something to work with. Then I'm going to put cannabis seeds on the back in certain places on the back in this special plastic that I use. Then I'm going to put a stainless steel pin on the back and make sure it works well with this plastic material. Test it. And then I'll take it off the piece, and that will go to the workshop in Toronto for casting into silver when it's done. And then when it comes back, I'll finish it, which means just polishing it and taking off the rough bits and giving it the look I want. And then I'll put the stainless steel pin on the back and insert it into the place that I've left for it in the silver. And then that will be the finished piece. Now, what I'm battling against with this piece, like always I say that precious metal is heavier than normal metal, and then other stuff. It's heavier than other stuff. So weight, I have to worry about weight. How I don't want it to pull the lapel down. This is the reason why you need to do a cast, right? Because I want to clip it on. I've got a mannequin here with a tuxedo on it, and I'm going to pin it on that to see. And then if it doesn't pull the lapel forward or make it look weird or whatever, then this will be an item that we will sell. So that's how it works. Anyway, before I go today, the traffic is just about to start outside. So I just want to talk about my fundraising campaign to raise the money to digitize this vast photography collection of Canadian electronic music, raves, DJ culture from 1993 to 2005. Now, I shot photographs during this period for Tribe magazine, some 10 to 12,000 photographs. And they're all in film and slides, and I need to digitize them. One, to make them available for books and films, and I'm always getting approached by documentary filmmakers to where are the photographs of the rave scene in the 1990s, or where are the photographs of the house music scene in the 1990s and 2000s? Where are they? And well, they're not digitized. They're on film and slides. That's why you haven't seen them. That's why there are no photographs of the rave scene in Canada that anyone really has seen of any quality, is because I have them all, most of them. And a lot of times I was the only photographer allowed in these events to photograph them. So that's why photos don't exist outside what I have in this collection. And that's why they're so rare. But to digitize them is a huge job. So I launched a fundraising campaign called Preserve the Beat, which you can find on Indiegogo right now, and or go to preservethebeat.com to make a donation to help me do this digitization, which is expensive and huge. It's a huge project, but I need to do it because we need to make these photographs available for Canada and the world to see. Also, in my estate plan, I'm going to leave them to Canada. I'm going to leave them to 3 Canadian arts entities in my estate plan so Canadians of the future can see these amazing digital images. And also, I'm going to leave the originals, too, with us. And all the information on what they mean and what is what. So each slide will have like a digital version, and it'll say, okay, this was shot on Queen Street in 1994. So the data will be associated with each image for historical purposes and for information and research purposes for Canada. So how's it going? Well, the fundraising is really hard. It's really difficult, you know? This whole project has been a roller coaster for me. It started off, I'm just so emotionally tied to the photographs, first off, because I shot them all, but to the people in them, because I love ravers and house music and dancing and DJ culture. I love it, right? I love it. It's in my bones. It's in my life. So I was getting so emotionally entwined when I was trying to design the fundraising campaign. I found it even hard to record videos because I would be bawling halfway through thinking about how fabulous the rave scene was back in the day, right? So I had to get over that and train myself to get through that in order to try and produce video appeals to get people to donate to this cause to digitize this collection. I know it sounds so frilly and stupid or whatever to not be able to communicate something like this, but I want to do it right. And I want to communicate how valuable this collection is to Canada and the world and why I need this amount of money I need to do it. I've outlined all that in the campaign page. There's a budget there. There's all that. So I thought it was really, the piece was about how much information I could provide to get people to donate. It's not that at all. People will donate. It's just that nobody knows about it. I have to pay Facebook to circulate my message, my appeal for donations. I have to pay Facebook to communicate with my own followers on Facebook. Like, this is what it is, right? These days, everything is pay to play. Nothing is for free, and so the line item for advertising, there is no line item for advertising in my fundraising budget, but there should be because Facebook is like just skimming, right? Oh, it's horrible. Anyway, this project is too important. I'm moving forward with it. I've got 4% of the amount of money raised, and I'm going to be appealing to everybody I know. I'm going to be working my butt off for the next 40 days or so to try and get this money together to start digitizing this enormous collection of important, rare photographs. Okay. You can donate even $25 will help. For $100, you can get your name in the front pages of my first coffee table book as a donor to Preserve the Beat. Go to preservethebeat.com and make a donation today. Thank you. Okay, looking forward to Christmas. I was talking about scarf season already, right? Scarf, brooches, pins, scarves, hoodies. Already, I'm thinking of the fall, but I'm also thinking of Christmas. I think I might do a show somewhere for jewelry, somewhere in late November. I don't know where yet. I was looking at some of these big sales events that, there's different shows, these art shows that they do every fall. They're just events. These are event companies, right, that rent out a hall and then they buy some advertising. They get everyone in a room together and they charge you exorbitant fees for a booth space. And there's one particular organization in Canada. Oh, they have to pick you to be a part of it. You have to go in front of their board of directors or whatever if you're going to be a part of this. They'll decide whether your stuff is good enough to be included in that right there. Even though that's the best show, maybe the best show in Canada to sell stuff, that right there is like, no. You're not going to decide whether my stuff is good enough for your show. I'll tell you what, my stuff is better than your show. And for anonymous people who have no experience with my products or our designs, are not going to make a decision as to whether they're going to be in your show, whether I'm going to pay you to be in your show. Like, no, fuck that, fuck that. So I'm not gonna go there. I've reached out to them. They couldn't even provide me with demographic data as to who attends the show. Like, now, this has been going on for a number of years in various Canadian cities. It's like it's an event company, basically. It's like, whatever, some event company. They put on an event. It's like a car show or a house show, or it's one of these shows. But this company has a focus on art shows, right? So anyway, they could not provide me any data. I asked them. I sent them an email. I said, okay, we're considering applying for this. Can you send me some demographic data on the attendees? No, it's proprietary, sorry. But trust me to say adults. I said, well, do adults enter? How many adults? What's the percentage of adults? My customers are adults. I want to know that. No, we can't tell you that. Just say there's a lot. Now, this is the company that wants to pick and choose whether our products would qualify to be in their show. They're not even willing to provide data, right? So I'd be wary of event companies like this. If you're an artist and you want to set up, if you're going just to sell mass-produced junk, or if your products are made by somebody else that you're reselling, maybe that might be worth it for you to be in these art show and sale things. And maybe that's where all the customers go to buy gifts. I don't know. I'm going to have to think about it. But I would rather do something more creative and more different. It might not have the vast number of attendees, but it sure as hell the attendees would be coming for the purpose, for a purpose to see more interesting, more high-level products. That's what I'm thinking. Anyway, that's it for me this week on the Cannabis Goldsmith. Donate to the Preserve the Beat campaign, please. Please. Even if you're just listening to this show for the jewelry stuff. Look, it's art. Donate, please. And spring is here. Get outside. Dig in your garden. Plant in your window box on your flat. Put your hands in the ground. That's my tip for you this week. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next week. The Cannabis Goldsmith is produced by Tribe Communications, Inc. in the Thousand Islands area of Ontario, Canada. You can see what we do at tribe.ca. Send us an email, alexd@cannabisgoldsmith.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week on the Cannabis Goldsmith.